And then I'm super pumped. Today will be a little different. Yeah, so good morning, folks. All right, today's different. Dave let me host this interview with Hunter, which I'm super excited for because Hunter's interviewed me a few times, but I've never had the pleasure of asking him questions. And it couldn't have come at a better time for like where I'm at personally in my career. And today's call is going to be a little different than most. Dave and I did a walk and talk in Southern California with one of my best friends who is a leader in Navy SEAL Special Warfare Development Group, also known as SEAL Team 6. He was in town for work. I was in town for work. Dave was in town, and I'm like, I got to sync these guys up. And Dave, being Dave, just went hardcore on leadership, and there were some epiphanies that came out of that. So this call is going to be focused primarily on mindset and leadership. I know that we all love these calls because we want all the tactics. We want to see how we can use MortgageCoach better and learn all the tricks and trades that everyone's doing. If you're looking for those, like, I don't know if there's another TCA I could share. Like, I have given everything I have. Hunter, I think you have too. So I'm going to post the link to the YouTube channel that has all the playlists from all the 10X chats that Dave has done over the years. So every tactic you're looking for is there, but kind of staying on this SEAL or special operations theme. What I was thinking about this morning is, like, if you want the tactics to be a sniper, to be a machine, like whatever, like insert breacher, anything those guys do in their job, you don't get that if you don't have the mindset, right? So in our industry, I think we've really kind of put it backwards. We focus so much on tactics and pass over the mindset piece of it, where that organization starts with the mindset. If you don't have the mindset, you don't get the tactics. And I always kind of thought that was cool. So there's a couple different things that we learned from that walk and talk. And the biggest takeaway I had is we were talking about technology. So Dave said, you know, hey, from when you got into the Navy in 2008 to today, like, technology has advanced so much. And this gentleman started talking about like the current war in Ukraine, right? The drone warfare that has never been seen prior to that, to where his teammates are going into places where that technology exists without technology, no radios, no Garmin watch, because the AI can track those things, and the drone will just find you based on those signals. And so they have to go in without them. So in a world where technology is taking over, they have to go in without technology. And I just thought was kind of a cool thing and something we should all be thinking about. So all that being said, yeah, I'm super excited to jump into this. Thank you, Hunter, for your time, as always.
Hey man, my pleasure. This is like a role reversal. So I like it.
Yeah. So what I wanted to start with is just, I was thinking about the chat we were having yesterday on text, right? Dave sends a voice message at whatever, 5, 6 a.m. winded because he's doing his morning routine and he was on his ruck that he does. Hunter replies with a video in the middle of a run. And I always look for similarities, right? I just noticed that there's these common denominators with successful people. Like, Hunter, what do you do? Like, how does your day start regardless of what you have in it?
I mean, it's you feel silly talking about the same thing so many times, right? But at the same time, like you just do stuff that works. So I mean, for me, I have my morning routine, and I think everybody's morning routine can be different, but you have to have one. You have to set yourself up for success. So for me, it's 4:30 in the morning. Alarm goes off. Sometimes I wake up without it, but it's it's a combination. I've got faith, so I do Bible for about 15 minutes. I read for 15 minutes. I'm doing this push-up contest now, so while I'm reading, I'm doing my all those push-ups, and then I just go out I either go out for a run, depending on the weather, which is kind of chicken of me. If it's good weather, I go out for a run. If it's bad weather, I'll go up to the gym and do Stairmaster or whatever, and then come back, do a cold plunge. I don't have like a big fancy one. I just have one that goes into my bathtub, which is kind of funny because I'm 6'3", 250 pounds. So the first time I did it just went like my wife wanted to kill me because I flooded our bathroom. but that's it, man. And it's like if I do that, like I'm guaranteed to have I shouldn't say I'm guaranteed to have a great day, but I'm guaranteed to have a better day than if I don't, you know. And it's like the amount of times, and I'm not perfect. I mean, the amount of times that I haven't done it right, and then I'm driving into work and I see someone running, and I'm just like, God, like why didn't it's just having those triggers to just get out of bed, right? And it's like when you hang out with, I mean, literally thinking about you guys yesterday, I was getting like almost jealous because, you know, Dave's out there talking, then you're replying, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to wait until I get done with my run, right? I mean, it just feeds off of one another. So, but that's my morning routine, and it's, I mean, you have one too, right?
Yeah. So, I do, but I want to touch on something real quick, because we're gonna have to talk about Buffalo now because you just said that if the weather's bad, you don't go outside. And
Not all the time. It's not all the time. But yes, this B League will tell you, like he'll yes, I've been going to the gym a little bit more than I should have, as opposed to being outside weathering the, you know, the weather.
weathering the storm,
Yes,
running into
exactly.
the
Yeah,
storm.
weathering the storm. Exactly.
Yeah. So, the reason I want to touch on this is because I've noticed how critical it is to mindset. Like whatever your routine is, it does every, we all say 4:30. I'm a 4:30 guy too. It doesn't mean you should get up at 4:30. Like if I'm mentally best at 1 in the morning and I stay up late, then do that. It doesn't mean you can get up at 10. That won't work. But like find when you're mentally best, find when you're physically best, lean into those, but make it purposeful. I found that when I do my morning routine, uh, things seem to happen more automatically. And when I don't do them is when I seem to have more struggle. And it happens too often to where I can say that it's a coincidence. Like setting yourself up and having your wins right out of the gate, just it just works. Like I just can't see it any other way. Have you ever noticed any similarities in that?
Well, yeah, I mean, 100%. I think the other thing too is that, you know, one thing I just told my team, we go through like kind of we work on something for the week. Like we'll start on Monday mornings. We'll say what's one thing we're working on for the week, right? And for me, it could be work related, it could be personal, whatever. And one of mine was, which is something that's super important that I know I struggle with, but it's my night routine, right? I mean, it's
Hmm.
like, so for me, it's like I'm gonna start last night I did it for the first time, but like night journaling as opposed to just I journal in the morning, but like journaling at night just to recap the day. And also like you're setting yourself up. This isn't where you were going with this, but you and I both like to, you know, sometimes we have a good time
Dude,
at
we can
night.
go wherever we want. Dave's
If
not
I
here.
have too good of a time at night, like I know, like you have to make decisions that you know are, it's just for me, and I think there's some, you go back to like mindset, the big topics are instant gratification versus delayed gratification, right? Like that's how a morning routine comes from from a good night. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
you can't, it's hard to get up at 4:30 in the morning if you didn't. I don't really believe in night owls as opposed to anything. I mean, I think if you wake up early, you're going to have a better day than if you wake up late. I don't care what time you went to bed. So anyway, but it's just like I have to always be thinking with everything we deal with in our business, every single aspect of it, it has to do with like just different triggers, which delayed gratification always feels better than instant gratification. Instant gratification is staring at your phone at 10 o'clock at night, doing absolutely nothing, you know, just doing nothing, right? Where like delayed gratification is actually having the mindset of like putting your head on the pillow, saying some prayers, whatever, thinking about the wins for the day, and then actually going to bed and waking up like that. So I think we have to be thinking about that more. I have to play Jedi mind tricks on myself, and the concept of instant versus delayed gratification helps me a ton.
Well, and so on that note, I think that's a good one because for me, I have the negative thoughts come in constantly, right? Like you're not relevant anymore, you're going to fail, there's better loan officers, people have better tactics. Like that's constantly in my head. And so when those things happen, I have to go to a place of gratitude. So if it's middle of the night and all that crap is popping in and I do want to get a good 7 to 8 hours of sleep and that's going to screw that up and that's going to mean I'm not going to get up as early, I'll just start going down the grateful list of like everything, right? And you can't be negative when you're being grateful.
Totally.
And I think that ties a lot into our market. And that's another thing I wanted to ask you about, because the market's the challenge. And I think if you've chosen to be a mortgage advisor, a loan officer in June of 2025, you're still up for the challenge. But I think the way we look at the challenge is very important. Um, like Hunter, I remember, this is years ago. I don't even remember what year, but I remember you were working at a brokerage and kind of had this epiphany of like, okay, I'm doing the same thing, but I want to do more. Like,
Mhm.
so just kind of transitioning from, what I want to accomplish with this call is help individual loan officers like myself learn how to overcome that ceiling maybe they're hitting, right? Where like, I know I'm capable of more. I just don't know what the next step is. That's currently where I'm at. But I also want to help the leaders on this call that are either running teams, running branches, running companies, whatever it is. So, going back to kind of that moment of like, I'm, I'm, I'm worth more than this. I'm better than this. Like, what was that shift? And when was it?
Well, when was it?
When and
Wh-
what?
Well, I mean, the what was for me is, and I think this is the balance of, I'm always trying to be cognizant of the audiences that that we're talking to, right? I mean, you have people that are closing a loan a month, you have people that are closing 5 loans a month, 10 loans a month, 20, and then you have people that are branch managers, producing branch managers, regionals, whatever. So there's a whole there's a large audience out there. But I mean, I think for me, it was the recognition of, well, one, I mean, I just wanted to do more. I mean, I am competitive and I wanted to do more, right? And I mean, literally, I was 90% refinance at one point, right after the meltdown. And then, I decided I wanted to get more in, the purchase side of the business. What did that take? And what I found is, it was about the volume, but it was also about me enjoying what I was doing as much as humanly possible. And I found myself, like, if you can actually look at it and say, I think we look at it as a weakness to acknowledge what you're not good at, and as opposed to what I am good at. If I could spend 80% of my time doing something that I'm good at and allocate the rest to everything that I'm not good at and hiring someone else to do it. And I think, you and I have gone back and forth with this, where it's like, it's a great thing to be, you are a solo. I mean, you're not solo, but for the amount of production that you do, you have a really small team, right? And that, I think that's a really good thing, because in our industry, margins shrink, all these things, right? You only have so much income to provide to produce the widget of a loan, right? With that being said, you I think you're hitting the point now where it's like, you've hit maximum capacity, right? You have two team members and you produce $100 million of loans, right? That's insane, right? So, I mean, the next step for you is finding, literally, I mean, you have to build the machine more, where you can, it's finding more and more time for you to spend what you love. You love being the rainmaker. You love going out. You love talking to people, the value of home ownership, focusing on military people, primarily focusing on people under 40. You've got what you want. The more time that you can spend out talking to those people, and then having team members that are also better at maybe response times, maybe the attention to detail, maybe the constant client, the workflow, constant client communication. Like, those are things that I'm not good at, but I have team members around me that make sure that, like, they're super. Actually, I mean, literally just yesterday on our team meeting, Bridget started talking about, she goes, I'm thank God I'm good at this, because if it was up to Hunter, we'd be screwed. And it was, but I mean, truly, right? But
Truly, yeah.
it was about just what the emails looked like, what the return calls looked like, so it's a long-winded way of me saying, when I understood, you do come from a place of plenty, as opposed, you have to switch a mindset from plenty and scary to getting away from scarcity, right? Like, you have
Yep.
to say, like, I'm going to hire, I'm going to step out of my comfort zone, I'm going to make this move. And that's what happened to me. It's like, it takes you, there's that saying, right? You can think about something for years, and then but it's a split second where you actually make the decision to go out and hire someone, and that's when things change. I do better myself sometimes. Like, I can do analysis paralysis, and when I actually just when I make that shift sometimes and say, I'm going to make this change right now, I'm going to hire someone, I'm going to reach out to HR to tell people I'm looking, I'm going to send a post out on LinkedIn that says I'm growing and I'm hiring, that's when things start to happen. And that's, I mean, that's what I did 10, whatever, 12 years ago.
Well, no, and so that's a really good point. So I was talking to Dave, and I think he might have said on one of these calls where he lives in Southern California now, but he's moving to Portland, right? And when he told me that, I thought it was like a thought. And then all of a sudden I see a listing video on Instagram of his house. And I'm like, dude, are you really doing this? He's like, yeah, like my 5-year plan includes hanging out with our kids. Our kids changed the plan, but my plan didn't change. And what caught me on that was how decisive he was, right? And it
Hmm.
really made me start thinking about like what you just said. Okay, I'm going to make a decision and I'm going to move forward with that decision instead of staying in this what do I do next mode. I think our intuition tells us what we're supposed to do next. We just choose to question it, right? And
Yeah.
when I was at dinner with my buddy this weekend, after just thinking about how Dave just takes action, right? He's very decisive. My
Yep.
buddy was talking about like the first, gunfight he got in. He was like, "Oh, I'm getting shot at," and he's like, "You just have to make decisive action." And I loved that term, decisive action, which I lack in, right? Like I'm going to do this, but I don't know how, so then I don't do it. Where when you're in a place of like sometimes you're forced into making decisions. Like for me, becoming a loan officer was something I always thought about, but I was forced into it at the end of 2016, right?
Yeah.
But had I not had that pressure, I don't know if I probably would have just sat and sat and sat. So I think there's people that inherently are like, I'm a decisive action. I'm going to do this and I'm doing it now. I'm not one of those people, and I'm trying to be cognizant of the fact that I'm not. And I think what
Which,
I
by
think
the way, is a great thing to be cognizant of, right? Like I'm not necessarily a fast decision maker, right? I'm not decisive, and I'd like to be decisive more, but I will say this, and for people listening, it's no different than a cold call, right? Like if you make one and it works, then you're like, oh, I'll make another one, I'll make another one, I'll make another one. And like things start, like you start making more decisive decisions and things just start going into place. And all of a sudden you're like, well, I feel better about my day. I feel better. Like I'm hiring this person that I can't believe they like I'm feeling bad because I'm delegating something to them and they're looking at it like I love that delegation and I'm feeling bad because I'm being like different brains out there work differently, right? I mean, there's people that are out there that would do a great job doing things that you hate doing and doing things that they would never do that you love doing. So, I mean, the one thing I want to be clear, just because I've been, people hear it all the time where it's like, oh, I want to hire someone, right? It's like you also have to be able to produce, like you have to earn the right to hire people, depending on, if you work for a company, if you work for a branch, whatever. I mean, but even I would just say talking out loud, we're talking about leadership, like
yeah.
being a good leader or being a good team member that hopefully is going to a leader to say, hey, I want to grow my business, right? If I grow, like set expectations, like Sean, I mean, if you and I obviously at $100 million, you're not looking for that. But I mean, it's like if you're sitting down with me saying, well, yeah, maybe you are, right? You sit down with me, say, hey, Hunter, I want to get to $200 million. And if I get to $200 million, I need, 5 team members or 6 team members. Then we would say, okay, what does that look like, right? Like when do we, that goes back more to the metrics of, that those are the details of when you're hiring, right? Is it 5 loans per employee, right? Is it 4 loans per employee? You have to understand what that looks like. You have to understand what are you hiring for. These aren't sexy things to think about, but you really do. You have to think about who you're hiring for and when you're hiring for that person, right? Like my first hire was a technical person. My second hire was an admin person. My third hire was a technical person. My fourth hire was a business development type of person, right? My fifth hire was a technical person, right? And then you can start to separate things to say, okay, well now I need someone that's better on the front end of a pre-approval specialist, and I need other people that are contract to close. And so when you start what feels like it's impossible, all of a sudden it's like you just start having a clearer picture, and then you can be decisive about your hiring because it's not emotional. It's based on how many widgets you're producing. So
Well, I think that's the like what you just kind of described to me is you just keep pushing forward. You just take another step forward. But I don't want people to hear that and go like writing down notes. Okay, Hunter said that he hired a tech person first, and then he hired this and he hired that. So I'm just going to do that. It's like, I think all of this comes from a place of self-reflection and self-awareness, right? And I'm wondering, and I could be completely wrong on this, maybe this is a question for the group, like in the chat, like how often are you taking time to self-reflect and like pause, look at yourself, look at your business from 30,000 feet and go, okay, what do I need to actually achieve the goal? And what does the goal look like, right? Have you even set a goal? Um, I realized one day, actually you were there. I was going to Tom's meetup, Wednesday meetups when we used to do those a long time ago when he had TrueMark over there. I hit the light right before it, and it took me 15 minutes to get there because of where I lived, hit all these lights, and I was just sitting at the light with just negative thoughts. Like, I hate that I have to drive this far. This is stupid. That's stupid. I don't want this. I don't want that. And something just hit me and said, dude, you've never said what you want. Like you just went down a rant of I don't wants, but you don't know what you actually want. And that was like a shift for me. That one moment at that red light of like, Sean, what do you want your life to look like? What do you want your business to look like? Because if you don't take the time to figure that out, then the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, law of attraction, you can't get what you want if you don't know what you want. Right. And I found that taking the time to self-reflect, journal, I think the morning journal is very different than the night journal. Like for me,
Do you night
um,
journal?
I just started to, yeah. Dave kind of like, he hit me with that. What Dave hit me with this weekend, he said, so my goal, I'm at 100 million year after year, right? I did 220 million in 2021, which is a number I never, ever even thought as a realm of possibility. And then it was like, okay, you thought 100 was good. It's not good enough. And so since I did, since 2022, it's been 100, right? The machine that I've built, I look at it as an ecosystem. The ecosystem that I've built has the resources to support $100 million in production. If an ecosystem, if the, let's see, how does this work? The population of an how do I say this? When the population of an ecosystem exceeds the resources, the population will leave, go elsewhere, or it will die, right? The ecosystem is built for a certain amount. My ecosystem is built for 100 million. I want to do 200. I'm a single with an assistant and a processor loan officer. Hunter wears a lot of hats now, and he's still doing more production than I am, and that pisses me off because if Hunter can do all that production while still running all these different things, it means that I need to build a better ecosystem. I need to add capacity, and the only way to do that is by hiring additional resources into my ecosystem. And so then it's like, okay, well, do I need to go figure it out on my own? No, I can go to calls like this and go, like, Hunter, when you decided you wanted to hire that technician, how did you realize that was the right first step for hiring somebody into your team?
I mean, the truth is for me, it was coaching, right? I was getting coached through the core at the time. And that was, I mean, you do, whether or not it's these calls, coaching programs, whatever, I'm not, but I mean, like you do need, in my opinion, you need advice from other people to help you understand when you need to hire. You need some, if you're hiring and you're building a team, you do need some form of guidance, but there's also so much guidance out there. So, I mean, for me, it was literally like you only, you can't you can't do it all. It's just that simple, right? You can't do it all. I mean, it doesn't, I don't need to go, we don't need to go through like the processing of a widget, but I mean, I can't sit there and take 4 pre-approval calls, then have to put together the paperwork, then figure out what's missing, what's not missing, reach back out to the client, create pre-approval letters for people, call listing agents, do Tuesday updates. It's just, you know, you have to have people around you that help allow you to stay into your, I mean, for me, it's literally, it's like take your income. I mean, hopefully your income's at a decent level, but I mean, just your hourly rate. I just look at my hourly rate constantly compared to some of the tasks that I'm doing and questioning whether or not that's in alignment with my hourly rate, right? Or even if your hourly rate isn't where you want it to be right now, imagine where you want it to be and just know that if you're doing a bunch of activities that are well below what your hourly rate should be, then that's something that you need to automate or delegate, right? So, I mean, that's what.
Yeah.
That's
So,
what I would say.
on
By the way,
this,
though, I do have to say with you, Sean, too, and I think for a lot of people listening too, like where you're like, it's in like with you, whether or not it's 100 million or 150 million or 200 million, and you kind of being, you also enjoy pouring into people, and I think that's something that we miss when we are the kind of solo assassins. I mean, so just something to consider. I think like for going back to like what when you're journaling, like what does drive you, right? Like I love my team. I mean, like truly, like we're like a family. Like I'm not trying to like blow. I mean, like people that have been on our team, they've been here for 8 years, 10 years, 11, like, because we love doing what we love. I mean, our business is hard, right? So it's like hanging around a bunch of people that you like being with, if you're hiring right, like that makes the job a hell of a lot more fun to show up to every day. So it's just, I think we all have to consider that, like going back to the mindset of the, why are you doing what you're doing, right? I mean, it's like there at some point there's enough. I don't want to act like there's enough money, but I mean, it's like it's not always about the money. I mean, I know a lot of people that are truly doing well in this business and they're miserable because they're not working with the right people, whatever. No different than us being loan officers calling. I mean, this is what's funny about this. The concepts are so simple, right? No matter where we put it out, if I'm talking to a client that I enjoy, we've all been there. We've all talked to clients where we're like, these are my people. Like they're like, Hunter, thank you so much for helping me buy a house. And I'm thinking, well, you're welcome. This is freaking great, right? And then you got business partners that are like, Hunter, I swear, like you, if I didn't have you in my life, I would be miserable selling real estate. Well, that feels freaking great, right? And then you have the other people that just drop turds on you all day. You got people that want to shop you 40 different ways. They don't care. They don't want to talk to you on the phone, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff. It's the same as it's the same internally as it is externally. So just think we have to be aware of that.
no,
More.
100%. I think, and just going since, mindset, like I really want people to understand if you don't have the right mindset, the tactics don't matter. And even just thinking about what you just said, that's a big one for me. So when I actually went through an exercise, in Newport Beach. The reason I do my event where I do it is because of this one story. I'm not going to tell the whole thing, but I basically got 2 deals into contract when we took off for spring break. Okay, sweet. I'm going to have money to pay for this trip. And when I landed, I lost both deals. And I was just like, emotionally, that sucked. Right. And the whole day kind of sucked as a result of that, had the negative thoughts, 3 a.m. I'm like, I'm not going to sleep anyways. This is consuming me. Went downstairs with my little book that I always use. And I just wrote, like, I don't like how I feel right now. Like, this emotion is not a good one. So how do I avoid feeling like this? And it was like, maybe you're not aligned with these clients, right? If they both didn't choose you, there's nothing you can do about it. You're misaligned. So what clients make you feel really good? Like Hunter just said, like, and this one guy, Tommy, popped into my head and I was like, Tommy's the best, super gracious. Thank you so much. We wouldn't be where we are as a family without you. Like all those things that you just mentioned happened. His realtor is amazing. And I was like, these are my people. How do I find more of these people? Like what markets do they work in? Where are they moving? Right? Job description. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to go all in on this group of people. I'm not going to win every time. I'm going to win more often and I'm going to feel good. It doesn't mean I won't serve and help everybody who wants me to help them, but I made the decision to align myself with that good emotion instead of the bad one. Like if you're going to have a bunch of people that are just crapping on you all day, don't work with those people. Like we are in a business where we get to choose who we want to serve, and you don't have to serve everybody, and you can't serve everybody. And I think that comes back to that scarcity abundance mindset, right? And like on my leadership journey that I'm now beginning, as far as like my team, and it's almost the opposite. Like I do love pouring into people. I've always poured into loan officers, and I would say like my leadership has always been to loan officers, but now it's like, okay, I need to build a better ecosystem. So leadership within my own team. And 100 years is almost like the opposite. You were, okay, loan officer, built my incredible team that you've built over the years. You've put the right people around you, but you didn't hire them thinking I'm going to be a boss and they're below me. Right. And I think the culture of an organization, whether if you're a single loan officer, and you're like, well, I don't have a team, right? It's just me and my company provides a processor, so I don't have anybody to lead. Your clients need your leadership. Your real estate partners need your leadership. Your underwriters need that leadership. And even if you're by yourself, you're still building culture by how you act around the people you're around. So I want to talk, outside of the incredible ecosystem that you've built for your own personal production, like where have things evolved from there over the last couple of years as far as leadership
Well,
goes? Like, what are you doing now?
yeah, by the way, I feel more confused I mean, I wrote about it on Sunday with the owl, I mean, like that, like that's a whole different story, but I mean, like I've never been more confused on the whole thing, right? So, by the way, I think is healthy. Like, I think like the more comfortable you get knowing that you don't know, so the more comfortable I get knowing that I don't know so much, the better off I'm going to be because I'm not faking that I'm some great leader. I'm not like, it's just, I was thinking about you this call this morning and it was like, and Dave, you guys talking about the SEALs and stuff. And it's like, I look at it like, I want to be, it's like, do you want to be a general or do you want to be, I didn't even know this about the military. I'm embarrassed, but it's like, what's the one position above a private, right? If you looked at a loan officer and said a loan officer is a private, one step above that is one higher in the hierarchy is a corporal, right? And it's like, you have to think of yourself as just one level. You have to like, I personally, if there's been success for me, it's been by taking the player coach mentality, right? Like I still produce, like we run, I mean, there's a group of us that run a division now, but I'm kind of the player coach in the whole division. I'm glad I haven't stopped producing because I think it's a relevant, doesn't mean that you're bad if you're not a producing branch manager, but if you're a producing branch manager, then you're really forced to lead by example, and I think that is that taking not getting out of production for me personally has been a blessing in the sense that it's allowed me to continue to just kind of keep my, I think, like feel what a loan officer feels on the street, and I think that that's been more and more attractive to more people, which has helped over the last couple of years doing what we're doing now. So but I mean, I think, to your point, and I wasn't always like this, by the way, but like it used to be, and I think it's something for everybody to think about. It's like it used to be clients first, right? Like you see people, they'll cancel a meeting for their team, whether or not, by the way, when we say team, I don't mean like 30 people. If you have one person, it's a team, right? I mean, if you have
Right.
one other person, it's a team. Like you don't cancel meetings on your team, right? You don't make decisions of I'm not going to do life planning because it's one team member, right? Like it's those types of things that when I finally understood, and it was a coaching exercise that brought it clarity to me, but it's like the bullseye, right? I've talked about it before. Like the bullseye, if you think about a bullseye, right? The bullseye for me used to be clients, then business partners, then team, right? When I switched it from team, business partners, clients, that's honestly and it has to be intentional. You can't, it's not like my team's not going to tell you that I fake care about them. I care about them. You have to care about the people that you work with. So when I started investing more into the team, then that started pouring outward to how our team members were communicating with our business partners. And then our business partners were more committed to how they communicated with us to their clients. And the whole thing just came full circle. And it was like, oh my God. So now, like everybody on our team feels like they have a vest. I mean, I wish I could change the name at this point. We've just gone on too long. It's called Team Hunter. But I mean, like, I wish we didn't have a name that was about me as opposed to the whole team feels like they're a part of every experience. They take accountability. They take like if there's a complaint, if there's a compliment, if there's whatever it is. I mean, there's a high level of responsibility, but it takes investing in the people that you work around. So, I mean, I think if I look at anything that's created any type of success that I've had, it's being consistent on. I don't know what kind of a leader I am, and because it's like that's an evolving question depending on I mean, like different articles that you read. I mean,
It's
it's like, holy
subjective.
crap.
The
But
type of
I
leader,
do know
yeah.
showing up every day, leading by example as much as humanly possible, right? Taking feedback and not, asking more questions. I mean, just all of those things. it, I don't want to say that I'm a servant leader, but I mean, like, if we're studying something, it's like studying the concept of servant leadership as opposed to any other thing, for me, is way more attractive and way healthier for the people that are working around you.
No,
So
I think servant's the right word. Like I always say, I don't sell, I serve, right? I think having a servant's heart, like all of that is right. And again, if you're leading your clients because you don't have a team, if you have one LOA, you're leading and you should lead as a servant. Like I think that's the right way to do it. I'm not a sports guy, but when I always thought about leadership, I always thought about how with football, if one guy doesn't do his job right, the whole play doesn't work, right? Like how many dudes are on the team at once or on the field at once? One guy doesn't block or do whatever he's supposed to do right, the play won't work, right? So it's not about the quarterback because the throw won't happen if the guy's not open because someone didn't do their, you know, like all those things come together and matter. And that's where to me it's not top down leadership. It's like I'm as a you know, let's just say you think of yourself as a rainmaker. You being a rainmaker is not more important than the underwriter, closer, doctor, or funder, QC checklist, insert loan position here, because without them, you have nothing, right? And I think that's a really important, to me, that's kind of that servant leadership. Like my job is not more important than someone else's because none of our jobs exist without each other. Like I've talked to loan officers who are like, you know, these underwriters should be grateful that I'm bringing in these deals. And it's like, no, you should be grateful they're there to help you because you don't have a deal without them. And I think that is the servant heart, servant
like, I'm
mindset.
going through an activity right now where I said to our top 20 loan officers that are doing jumbo and non-QM, send me an email in the next few days that I can forward to our underwriters explaining how important they are to us, right? Like those are the types of things that we have to do, you know, consistently. Like people, literally, I was just talking to someone about it coming in this morning. He's kind of like struggling because he needs a that a boy, right? And it's like it's okay for people to need those. You're not weak. You shouldn't look someone that need. I mean, someone that needs constant, like, hey, Sean, you're doing great. You're doing great. You're doing great. It's like, okay, might want to work on that. If you do great work, it's okay to, like, if you're in a leadership position, and like you said, it could be a single loan officer that reaches out to a notary that says, hey, I want you to know that they called me and they told me that you did a great job last night signing those loan docs. I just want you to know that you are appreciated and you impact this loan. On a completely other side, literally, we had to have a client re-sign all loan docs yesterday because a escrow officer assistant printed on regular versus legal docs and missed. It was like, you know, so to the point of everybody has to, it takes the entire group to win. I mean, it does, but people, like, the more people get recognized for that, not falsely, but just saying nice job, right? I mean, like, we at least get the paychecks. These people behind the scenes, they're not, I mean, granted, I'll also always say, hey, if you want to go try to sell a loan, knock yourself out, you know, but people deserve, it's not hard to make people feel like they're a part of a team. And the more that you inspire people to do better work, the more they're going to be inspired to do better work, and the more they'll do better work, period. If you don't inspire them and they just think that they have a job instead of a career, then you end up with, you know, what I call the Fred Flintstones, which are, you know, clock goes off at 5 o'clock and, you know, call comes in at 5:01 and they're out the door.
Yeah. Well, and I think so that again to me is leadership, right? Even if you're a loan officer who, I've never gone to a notary, like that's a next level gratitude that you did there. I've never done that, and that's amazing. But in your heart, you felt that was the right thing to do, so you did it, right? Like acting on that inspiration or emotion that you have of when it's positive is probably a good idea. Acting on negative emotions, you might want to like press pause for a second and just think it through, take some deep breaths, and then move from there. But like I have these challenge coins from the Seal Future Foundation that they sent me a bunch of for events I do, and I had a VA deal that it was hard. It was really really hard, and one of our underwriters like. She made it would not have happened without her, right? And with VA loans, I think like their delegation is on the hook or on the line if they don't do it right. And so the back of these coins just says by any means necessary. And like I sent her one because I really felt she made that deal happen by any means necessary. It doesn't mean I'm going to send it to every single person because then that's not authentic, right? But to me, it was like, this is incredible that this teammate of mine, an underwriter, and that could apply if you're a broker and you have an underwriter at UWM, they're still part of your team. It doesn't matter if you work at the same company or not. And I just think that gratitude can go a really, really long way. And I think that also comes back to the abundance mindset versus scarcity mindset. Like one big epiphany that I had, and Hunter was a big part of this. I was at one of the masterminds, like, the Vegas summits, and it was, I think right after Barry said May 10th or 11th, and it didn't happen. And the energy in the room, to me, it just felt dark, right? Like it was low energy. There wasn't a lot of excitement. People are coming up to me, telling me their volume, like, man, I'm only closing one deal a month, but this guy just said he hasn't closed any in 3 months. So I guess I'm doing good. And I'm just like, whoa, like get me out of here, because I sit in this little box by myself. I have my blinders on, and the reality I know is the reality that I choose to create. Right. And I'm like, kind of get into like, I don't want to be around anyone because they're going to bring me down. And then I went on a company trip that I was on, and I went into it with a negative attitude of, oh, all these guys are the top producers, just going to be positioning by way of their volume. Your volume defines you. And I got there and I was completely wrong. And it was the exact opposite of that previous event. It was people who nobody said the market was bad. It was ideas, thoughts, sharing, learning, optimism. And I couldn't wait to leave because I wanted to go back to work so bad. But I was like, I need to be around people like this more often. And Hunter, I think, we were talking a little bit yesterday, like, how important is it to surround yourself with people who bring you up than bring you down,
Well, it's
in your
everything.
opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's absolutely. I mean, there's a few people out there that we all know that are just the most unbelievable self-starters, and they just get up and they go to work every day by themselves, and they don't need other people around them. I'm not one of those people. I'm just not, and most of you aren't either, right? I don't, Sean, you probably are more so than I am, right? I mean, like I need to be around other people that are positive, that want to help, that want to, I mean, it's just like, I mean, going really big picture, we're all going to die, right? I mean, it's like the point of sitting around bitching and moaning about stuff, like hang around positive people, hang around optimistic people, people that are rooting for you, people that you're rooting for, and things will just be better. It's just that freaking simple. You know what I mean? Like it's not complicated. People that are assholes are assholes. People that are not, right? I mean, so it's just like, and make it known. Like I'm on the search for cool people. If you're not one of them, get away from me. You
Yeah.
know? I mean, like, hey, dude, you just like literally like someone will. I mean, I don't really mind doing it anymore because I'm like, maybe because I'm 50 now, I just don't give a crap what people think. But I'm like, hey, dude, you just walked into this room and you just sucked the life out of me, and I'd like to have it back. Like, get out of here and come back and change your ways, and then we can talk again. I mean, it's like literally that kind of like people have to be aware of. You got to be aware of what you're. This is more important than anything on your clients, on your realtors, on your like, are you bringing them energy or are you taking it away from them? It's not a net neutral. It's you're either giving them energy or you're taking it away from them. And you are an asset if you're giving them energy, and you are a liability if you are taking it away. So, like, I mean, if there's any message from this, I mean, that would be it, on this whole freaking call. I mean, we got to do loans. Bring people energy, they'll do loans with you. Don't bring them energy, they won't do loans with you.
Well, and so I had a thought on your bullseye that I want to come back to, because I think it's really important that people understand that. But on what you just said, like, for me, it feels somewhat automatic to do the volume I'm doing. Like, I work a ton, but it doesn't feel like I'm trying very hard, right? Like, it feels like things happen relatively automatic as far as transactions coming in. I don't want to downplay it, which I probably am, but it does. It feels like kind of easy. And that's probably why, is because I'm coming from a place of like, I want to bring people up. I want to be surrounded by people with good energy. On these calls a million times, I've said the market doesn't matter. Mortgage rates don't matter. The sooner you take that approach, the sooner things become automatic. And like, that's what Hunter said. And I think with that example he gave of, dude, you sucked the life out of me when you came into the room. It's like, man, are you an a-hole for saying that? Or does that give that person the opportunity to self-reflect on, whoa, is that the energy I'm putting out to others? And is that what I want to do? Right? Like Hunter's doing those people a favor by doing that. And it may not feel like it in the moment, but if Hunter said that to me, I mean, my wife says it to me all the time. Like, I'll like reflect on like, is that really how I would make people feel? And is that how I want to make people feel? And then you build from there. So one thing I wanted to touch on from this will be tactical, on the bullseye, because you said you went clients, partners, team last, right? And then you flipped it and you said, oh, this is backwards. Team, clients, team, partners, clients. And I don't think you can do that if your client experience has not become muscle memory. Like, if you haven't figured out how everybody benefits by working with you because of the client experience that you provide, you can't make that the last thing. But when that's muscle memory and everyone on the team knows what they're supposed to do, like going back to my buddy who's like, yeah, we have to have guys go out and I'm like, no radios. We hope he's where he's at. And we're like, well, how do you know? He's like, oh, well, I'll be at this GPS coordinate at this time. If I'm not there, wait an hour. Like, that's the approach. But they're doing this because they know their teammates know the job so well that they know they will show up to that point at that time. And made me reflect on what I'm working on. And sometimes, me and my teammate will go back and forth on stuff that I just feel like we should just know that this is how it works. Right. So, I do want you to speak to your client experience, because the event I just did this weekend, we go through an exercise where everyone's like, dude, my process is dialed. Like, we could skip that part. I'm like, no. I thought mine was too. Let's go through this. And then we start with new loan application comes in. Now what? Right. And just like minute by minute, just write out the whole process end to end. And everyone's like, dude, that was so valuable. And I think that your client experience becomes the number one tool you have for approaching referral partners and having that confidence that you need to get clients to understand that. So Hunter, I always forget what it is, but you have a saying that you tell people, like, if you don't feel, I can't remember the rest of it. How does that go?
Yeah. I mean, it's three, right? So from a client perspective, it is, if you don't believe you have a greater chance of home ownership with us as your lender, you shouldn't work with us. Second one is, as a business partner, if you don't believe you're going to be more successful as a realtor or financial advisor with us doing your loans for your clients, you shouldn't work with us. And then third, from an internal standpoint, if you don't believe you're going to have a better life working on this team, working in our group at our division, then you shouldn't be here, right? And it's like, it's not a screw you. It's more like we have to look at ourselves to say, are we creating an experience that is so good that our business partners genuinely believe they're going to be more successful using us, right? And I mean, and I'll say, like, everyone's got Google reviews. Like, you go to our Google reviews and they're not like, hey, really appreciate the team. I mean, they're this long, and they're talking about us impacting them getting homes, not because we asked them to write it, because they felt compelled because of how they worked with us. And by the way, I had very little to do with that, right? I mean, I'm talking to the lead call, I'm calling realtor, I'm calling listing agents, but I mean, like, that's the team that's executing on that, right? Not, it certainly isn't just me by any stretch. I mean, if anything, it's not me. So I think that is a mindset that if everybody took that mind and said it, right? Like, I mean, from a sales perspective, if you're the realtor, I'll say, hey, Sean, like, we genuinely believe every day we go to work, we talk to our clients about it, and I'll say it to you right now. You have to believe that you have a better chance of being successful with me as your lender, or you shouldn't work with me. The only thing I would ask you is, does your existing lender have that same mindset? Is that how they show up talking to your clients every day? Or do they just forward an email saying, fill out this loan app, we'll tell you when you're pre-approved, right? Or for a client, it's like, hey, when you're sitting there, we believe that you have to believe that you have a better chance of home ownership with us as your lender. As you're talking to other lenders, if they don't make you feel like that, I think it's something that you should consider. Because for us, that's all we do. All we want is to be involved with you getting a home. Some people say, hey man, I'm putting 50% down. I make 500 grand a year and I don't give a crap who does my loan. Fine. It might be my guy. It might be the right fit for me. I don't know. But I know I know how I'm going. I know like what my odds are going into it, right? So it goes back to your original point. Like I'm not going to get all pissed off and worked up. I know we all know that that's what your expectations are of the client. But to your point, I'm going way off. To your point, the process has to be dialed in. But the other thing I would say is like everyone's got or not everybody. You need to calibrate your process always, but you also can't forget about the purpose of the process, right? Like people could say, I send, yeah, I talk to the client before I send the loan out. That's different than the conversation I have with a client, right? Like mine's the purpose behind it as opposed to just, hey, I'm going to send you a loan application, blah, blah, blah. I'm understanding their personalities. I'm understanding how they got referred to Sean in the first place. I'm understanding what they're like. Do you have concerns about home ownership right now with what's going on in the market? Like, tell me why you're buying. Tell me why you're buying, where you're buying. Are there any, yeah, I mean, it's creating some bond, hopefully, with the client. So,
Well, and the reason people will leave him those long reviews is because you guys, if you've listened to these calls before, you've heard me say it. Hunter and his team are creating a remarkable client experience, meaning that can't wait to talk about him, they want to remark upon him. And I think that is what we all should be creating and why that becomes the number one resource. And you can't go out to real estate partners or home buyers and say, if you don't think you'll be more successful by working with our team, you shouldn't work with me. Because the immediate question is, well, what makes you so special? And if I ask Hunter that question, I'm not going to because he has to go be a leader shortly. If I ask him that question, he could tell me right this minute, like why. And I believe that the process or the experience I've created is the best for every home buyer and realtor. Hunter believes in his process through and through. Doesn't mean we can't improve and be better. Before I let you go, I do want to touch on your division, and because it's not the Hunter Marckwardt division, it is the
I know.
Buffalo crew. Like, what do you call it?
It's the Buffalo division. Yeah. And
Buffalo and
I'm just one of a few folks leading the charge.
yeah. And why did you guys create the buffalo as like the mascot?
I mean, certainly at the time, like I mean, the Buffalo story, right? There's a cow and a buffalo. I don't know how many people have heard of it. I mean, that's why we
Say
call
it
it the
because not
Buffalo
everyone
division.
has.
Okay. So, I mean, the cat, in a storm, right? In which I think we all feel like we've been in a storm for the last few years, right? So if you're in a storm, a cow runs away from the storm, or actually they kind of walk away from the storm, right? And in walking away from the storm, they freeze to death, right? Because they never actually get out of the storm. A buffalo goes straight into the storm full speed and gets on the other side of the storm as quickly as possible. So we like the story, we like the message, we like the way that the buffaloes look. So that's why we're the Buffalo division.
I love it. And I think it's
Yeah.
important. And I'm going to let Hunter take off to go lead his division. And I have some things that tie into that. So if you're on here, don't leave yet because I'm not finished. But Hunter, dude, thank you so much. As always, I love
Thank
chatting
you,
with you. I
brother.
chat with you for hours, dude.
Yeah, thanks everyone for staying on and listening. So we'll talk to you later. Have a great
All right,
rest of the
brother.
week.
Thank you, dude.
I would say
All right,
this
everyone.
too.
So
As you're making calls, that my only advice is as you're making calls today, just be thinking, am I breathing life into this person as I make this call, or am I sucking the life out of them? So just think about
hell
that while
yeah.
you're making calls. All right, guys. See you later.
Thank you, brother. All right, so just carrying on from the thought process of how a buffalo runs into a storm. And I've loved that story. I've heard that story. Hunter took it to another level by creating that as the culture for his division. But I've noticed I always look for commonalities, and I noticed a few things I wanted to share with you guys. And for me, like I talk about the SEAL teams a lot, and it's not because I think these guys are so cool because they do all these push-ups and do this and don't sleep and go to war. Like that's not what it is for me. For me, it's the mindset. And I want to share with you a commonality that I've seen over and over again. And this is basically it. So this is a text I sent to my buddy I was telling you about where I said, what's your philosophy on happiness? You put it so well, and I want to share it at my event today. This was August of last year. Happiness comes from overcoming challenges you have in front of you. Happiness can't exist, without adversity. That's my take, but you say it perfectly. He said, I believe in living a fulfilled life. To do that, you have to play to the human condition. We are programmed to see challenges, problem solve, and overcome them. The more times you can repeat that in your life, the more fulfillment, confident experience you can gain. Adversity speaks to the difficulty of the challenge. You can take it incrementally or all at once, but the larger the adversity to overcome, the bigger the fulfillment at the end. So for anybody who feels like the last few years have been so hard, that's a good thing, right? We have been given this amazing challenge that we get to solve problems for people. And while I think they say like 60% of mortgage advisors have let their licenses go, and people go, okay, cool. That means, there's less of us to compete. So we'll just get more. You don't win by default, right? If the way you're looking at your business is I'm going to win because the other people left, that's not winning. That's just being there, and it's a coincidence. And that you got to question that if you have that mindset. But that same day, this gentleman, Mike, who went to Buds with this guy, said this. Let me play this video for you guys real quick.
Challenge is what makes us challenge is because what's on the other side.
Shoot. Well, basically, he said the same thing. Like the text was on there. If you're watching this back, you'll see the text. But he said, if you're going through a challenge, you need to lean into it because the challenge is what will make you your best. What's on the other side of the challenge is probably worthwhile. And then Thursday of last week, the SEAL who spoke at my event had this slide in his deck that said, the most rewarding things in life are often on the other side of the most difficult. It's not that they were taught this, right? If you can make it through that program, you already have this inherently in you. And I was talking to Jeremy Forcier one day with that, we were at our event in Mexico, overlooking this beautiful ocean, like nobody would ever want to leave. And I was sitting with Jeremy and Hunter, and the three of us like couldn't wait to go back to work. Like we were so excited to get out of there and get back to work. We just wanted to go help people. And I looked at Jeremy and I was like, dude, that's kind of a weird emotion. Like why anybody else would be like, I don't want this trip to end. And I was like, do you think the way that we feel can be taught? And he goes, well, that's a really good question. And his response was better. Jeremy said, I don't think it can be taught, but it can be learned, because you can't teach something to someone who doesn't want to learn it. And so I kind of want to end on this to say, like, the challenge is the good thing. The buffalo runs into the storm because you'll get through it faster than if you run away from it, right? And we have tiny little storms every single day. We are all in the business of overcoming challenges and adversity. And I think that's why I love what we do so much. Like I wake up every day ready to deal with challenges. I promise you, I have like loan and process challenges in front of me today. I have real estate partners that I think should be using me that are using someone else. I personally need to start building a bigger team so I can create an ecosystem that will support more people so that I can help more people. And the good thing is we have a lot of leadership in our industry that shortcuts the process for us if we want it. We have Dave pouring into us numerous times a week. I was talking to a friend of mine at dinner last night. I was like, I think Dave does like 4 podcasts a week. Tuesday, Thursday, Monday with leadership, us with Tuesday, the In the Weeds on Wednesday or Thursday. I should know that. And then Friday. So we have incredible leadership. We just have to do something with it, and we have to take decisive action. And I know that most people come to these calls looking for tactics. The tactics are there. Go to the 10X landing page. Dave has done so many interviews where you can see how every single person is using MortgageCoach to create a better client experience, a remarkable experience. But the tactics don't matter if you don't have the right mindset. If your mindset when you wake up is, oh, the market sucks, interest rates are too high, MortgageCoach isn't going to help you. But if you look at it and go, inventory is limited, I could use MortgageCoach to solve that for clients and realtors. Interest rates suck, maybe I can get those down. You got to look at the challenge, right? The market is the challenge is the good thing. So I hope this was okay for you guys. My biggest fear is always not providing value. And I know this was a little bit different than normal, but I think this is so critically important that we all change our mindset, that we can be more successful, not only to ourselves, but to others. So thank you all so much. Oh, Michael, if you really have a question, pop it in the chat real quick and I'll answer it. If not, if that was a mistake, no worries. Right on, everyone. Thank you all so much. Go kill it, go get after it, and run into that challenge. Talk to you soon.